Welcome back again, and in this video we will continue vocabulary terms. Interactive dictation. Interactive dictation happens when students break into pairs or triads. They then use a piece of written material they are used to, and one student reads a few words and the others write them down. Then each student checks their and each other's work for accuracy. Interdental, a sound produced by inserting the tip of the tongue between the upper and lower teeth. Example, the initial sounds of thought and those. Interlanguage grammar, intermediate grammar that L1s create on the way to learning the target language. Internal borrowing, see analogic change. International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, the phonetic alphabet designed by the International Phonetic Association to be used to represent the sounds found in all human languages. International Phonetic Association, IPA, the organization founded in 1888 to further phonetic research and to develop the International Phonetic Alphabet. Interrogative, sentence, a sentence that questions whether a particular situation exists. See declarative. Intonation, the pitch contour of a phrase or sentence. Intransitive verb, a verb that must not have, does not. See select for, a direct object complement, example, sleep, rise. Involuntary minorities, people who were forced to migrate, I.e. Slaves, conquered people. IP, inflection phrase. A term sometimes used in place of sentence, s. A phrasal category whose head is AUX. Ipsilateral, neural signals that travel between one side of the body, left/right, and the same cerebral hemisphere, left/right. See contralateral. Isogloss, a geographic boundary that separates areas with dialect differences. Example, a line on a map on one side of which most people say faucet and on the other side of which most people say spigot. Isolating language, a language in which most words contain a single morpheme, and there is little if any word morphology. Example, no plural affixes on nouns or agreement affixes on verbs. Analytic language, example, Vietnamese. Jargon aphasia, form of aphasia in which phonemes are substituted, resulting in nonsense words, often produced by people who have severe Wernicke's aphasia. Jargon, special words, terms, nonsense words and expressions used by a profession or group of individuals, persons suffering from Wernicke's aphasics which, many may not be comprehensible to the outsider. Example, glottis for phoneticians. See argot. Kana, the characters of either of the two Japanese syllabaries, katakana and hiragana. Kanji, the Japanese term for the Chinese characters used in Japanese writing. Katakana, a Japanese syllabary generally used for writing loan words and to achieve the effect of italics. L1 transfer, when speakers or writers use what they know in their native language to learn a second language. The first language grammar, including its parameter settings, transfers as the beginning point of the L2, second language, learning. L2 acquisition, see second language acquisition. Labial, a sound articulated at the lips, example, B, F. Labiodental, a sound produced by touching the bottom lip to the upper teeth, example, V. Labiovelar, a sound articulated by simultaneously raising the back of the tongue toward the velum and rounding the lips. The W of English is a labiovelar glide. Lambic, stress on the second syllable. Language contact, the situation in which speakers of different languages regularly interact with one another, and especially where there are many bilingual or multilingual speakers. Language death, when a language is no longer used anywhere in the world or is declining. Language isolate, a natural language with no demonstrable genealogical relationship with other living languages. Larynx, the structure of muscles and cartilage in the throat that contains the vocal cords and glottis, often called the voice box. Late closure principle, a psycholinguistic principle of language comprehension that states, attach incoming material to the phrase that was most recently processed. Example, he said that he slept yesterday associates yesterday with he slept rather than with he said. Lateral, a sound produced with air flowing past one or both sides of the tongue. Example, L. Lateralization, lateralized, terms used to refer to cognitive functions localized to one or the other hemisphere of the brain. Lau v. and Nichols, 414 U.S. 563, 1974, was a civil rights case that was brought by Chinese American students living in San Francisco, California, who had limited English proficiency. The students claimed that they were not receiving special help in school due to their inability to speak English, help which they argued they were entitled to under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 because of its ban on educational discrimination on the basis of national origin. Finding that the lack of linguistically appropriate accommodations, e.g. educational services in English, effectively denied the Chinese students equal educational opportunities on the basis of their ethnicity, the U.S. Supreme Court in 1974 ruled in favor of the students, thus expanding rights of students nationwide with limited English proficiency. The Supreme Court stated that these students should be treated with equality among the schools. Among other things, Lau reflects the now widely accepted view that a person's language is so closely intertwined with their national origin, the country someone or their ancestors came from, that language-based discrimination is effectively a proxy for national origin discrimination. Lau remains an important decision on the 14th Amendment, and is frequently relied upon as authority in many cases. The San Francisco Unified School District remains covered by the consent decree that was ultimately entered into in the Lau case, and civil rights groups continue to monitor SFUST's compliance with that decree. Lax vowel, a vowel produced with relatively less tension in the vocal cords and little tendency to diphthongize, example input, pt. Most lax vowels do not occur at the ends of syllables, that is, b is not a possible English word. See tense. Learning, knowing what you have been taught. Length, a prosodic feature referring to the duration of a segment. Two sounds may contrast in length, example, in Japanese the first vowel is plus long, in /biru/beer, but too long, therefore short, in /biru/building. Level tones relatively stable, non-gliding, pitch on syllables of tone languages. Also called register tones. Levels of writing. Precommunicative, the babbling stage of spelling. Children use letters for writing words, but the letters are strung together randomly. The letters in precommunicative spelling do not correspond to sounds. Examples: OPSPS equals eagle, RTAT equals 80. Semiphonetic, knowing that letters represent sounds. They perceive and represent reliable sounds with letters in a type of telegraphic writing. Spellings are often abbreviated representing initial and / or final sound. Examples: E equals eagle, A equals 80. Phonetic spell words like they sound. The speller perceives and represents all of the phonemes in a word, though spellings may be unconventional. Examples: EGL equals eagle, ATE equals 80. Transitional, think about how words appear visually. A visual memory of spelling patterns is apparent. Spellings exhibit conventions of English orthography like vowels in every syllable, e-marker, and vowel digraph patterns, correctly spelled inflectional endings, and frequent English letter sequences. Examples: eagle equals eagle, EAGHTE equals 80. Conventional develop over years of word study and writing. Correct spelling can be categorized by instruction levels. For example, correct spelling for a corpus, words that can be spelled by the average 4th grader would be 4th grade level correct spelling. Place the word in this category if it is listed correctly. Lexemes, different forms taken by a single word. Lexical access, the process of searching the mental lexicon for a phonological string to determine if it is an actual word. Lexical ambiguity, multiple meanings of sentences due to words that have multiple meanings. Example: he blew up the pictures of his ex-girlfriend. This will make you smart. Smart, hurt/educated. Lexical category, a general term for the word-level syntactic categories of noun, verb, adjective, and adverb. These are the categories of content words like man, run, large, and rapidly, as opposed to functional category words such as the and. See functional category, phrasal category, open class. Lexical decision, task of subjects in psycholinguistic experiments who on presentation of a spoken or printed stimulus must decide whether it is a word or not. Lexical gap, possible but non-occurring words, forms that obey the phonotactic constraints of a language yet have no meaning, example, blick in English. Lexical grammatical continuum, new words that are added to the English language. Lexical paraphrases, sentences that have the same meaning due to synonyms. Example, she lost her purse and she lost her handbag. Lexical semantics, the subfield of semantics concerned with the meanings of words and the meaning relationships among words. E.g., word meanings. Lexicographer, one who edits or works on a dictionary. Lexicography, the editing or making of a dictionary. Lexicogrammar, lexicogrammer is the term for the relationship between vocabulary and grammar. These forms of language organization are normally studied separately, but, increasingly, lexicogrammatical patterns are being seen as central to language description and learning. Well, that was a lot. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.